call to order the organizational meeting for 2023 for the Canton Local Board of Education to order. First item on the agenda is election of officers. I'll open the floor for nomination for president for the Canton Local Board for 2023.
I'd like to nominate Rick Knight.
Do we have any other nominations? If not, we'll close nominations. Roll call vote for president. Mr. Cole?
Knight.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Kavesky?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Congratulations, Mr. Knight. I'm going to turn this over to you then.
Thank you. Okay, now we will receive nominations for vice president for 2023.
I'd like to nominate Tom Kavesky.
I'll second.
Any other nominations? If not, call roll, please.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Kavesky?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, now we have this establishment of the time and place and dates of the regular Board of Education meetings. The board is required to set a time and place and date for regular Board of Education meetings. We have that list in section B. If you look over that list, are there any changes that need to be made?
I do. February 21st, I have a class that night, so could we change that date? And then also for August 21st, I was hoping that we could meet in the morning instead of evening for that meeting.
Because that's convocation, right?
Yes, convocation. And would that work better for you?
So the 21st, I think we moved it because it was President's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not okay with the 22nd, unfortunately. But like I said, I'm not, if I have to miss one here or there, I know that's a possibility.
But what about the Monday before the 13th?
For the,
February.
yeah, I cannot do that.
Okay. So,
But we can do 14. You guys don't mind Valentine's Day?
well, I think that's okay.
I would be okay with it.
Which is the date that
Tuesday. Would that work for you?
Tuesday, February 14th.
No problem here.
That works.
Valentine's Day. And you
Right.
said August.
Other than that,
Yeah, I'm not going out on a Tuesday. August, then you said,
Morning.
morning of the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
That was one that I was planning on missing, and yeah, that was the one we really couldn't work around, so whatever you guys want.
Okay, that works.
all right, so August 21st, we'll meet, we'll change the morning time,
It's a 6:30, right?
30?
6:30.
Yeah, prior to convocation.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
So, hey, just to make sure I'm correct, and I know Jason's doing right now, so we're going February, we're gonna move to the 14th, which is again a Tuesday, so we'll keep that marked as we publish these out. And then the only other one we're looking at a change is that August 21st, we're gonna go 6:30 a.m. prior to the start of convocation, since everybody will all be here for that.
Yes.
Yep. All right. All right, it's recommended that the meeting dates be adopted for 2023. Then we want to move to standing resolutions.
I think we have to vote.
Oh,
first.
vote.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, someone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion that we establish the discussed times for board meetings for 2020.
And I'll second that.
All right, call roll, please.
Mr. Kavesky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we have a list of standing resolutions for 2023. If you want to look them over and see if there are any questions or corrections or additions. I think you've all had them.
question 27, Jason, are those still good numbers for Lowe's and Sam's Club?
Yeah, those are our credit card
Yeah,
limits.
they're still good. I know we've changed them in years past.
Those are the current limits.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns? All right. So we want to make a motion, we accept those resolutions?
Make a motion that we approve the standing resolutions for 2023.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
All right, that moves to Roman numeral 5, Board Service Fund. The Ohio Revised Code requires the establishment of a service fund for the expense of members in the performance of their duties. And the Ohio Revised Code sets the limits for a service fund. The suggested amount would be $4,500, which is several $1,000s below the maximum. Any questions?
Also move on item 5.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye. All right, board representation. The board members are needed to serve on superintendent committees. Mr. Yeager?
Yeah, and again, guys, these are just the committees that I meet with periodically, time to time, to go over if there's issues or things like that to discuss. As you know, and what we work to continue to do is, I'm gonna work to continue to communicate with all 5 of you, because I think that's important. But just to go through and keep them set here, I just wanna make sure if there's any changes. Right now, we have Mr. Kvesky, career technical representative to the board. Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Loan Foundation Board Representative, that'd be Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Legislative Liaison, keeping that would be Mr. Knight.
Yes.
Okay. As we move down to Athletic, to be our representative, that would be Mr. Kvesky.
Yes.
And then going through as for discussions beyond that, if we needed that, with the second one on would be Mr. Hamilton.
Good.
Okay, then going to student rep to the board, just like we did this year, Mr. Cole, good with keeping that?
Yep.
And then facilities, Mr. Cole and Mr. Hamilton? Perfect. Curriculum and representatives, again, unless anybody wants Mr. Knight and Mrs. Davis? Perfect. Finance audit, that would be Mr. Hamilton and Mrs. Davis again. And then our board policy representatives, that would be Mr. Knight and Mr. Kvesky is where we were, unless you guys want to change. Okay? And then we're all good?
All right, moving to,
We got to vote on it, right?
We do not, no, we do not. Yep.
all right, moving to other business. Any other business? Not? Okay, need a motion for adjournment to the regular January meeting.
I make a motion that we adjourn to the regular meeting. Second.
Call the roll, please.
Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to regular meeting.
Yes.
We'll call this Monday, January 9th, 2023, Canton Local Board Meeting of Education to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Hamilton?
Here.
Mr. Knight?
Here.
Mr. Kvesky?
Here.
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
All right, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I so move we adopt the agenda with the addendum.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes, waive the reading of the minutes, and accept them as written for regular meeting December 19, 2022.
I'll second.
Any questions? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to hearing of the public. Do we have any hearing of the public?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, we'll move along. Okay, got the approval of the invoices.
I so move we pay the bills.
I'll second. Any discussion? Not? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
All right, the school report.
All right, so to start off with our school report, we're gonna actually have Mr. Dennison come up in just a second, introduce the football team, go from there. But before we do that, we're gonna go with our students of the month and bring them forward here as well. So can I first have up Katie Telleroli? Can you please come forward? I was gonna say, I think I saw you forward. Sorry, Katie, but I have to embarrass you. You have to come up on stage, so. It's the price of being a good kid. Grant got to do this last month. There wasn't very many people here. You get to do it with a big auditorium, so. First of all, give you this. And help me say the last part. Schreckengas. Katie Telleroli Schreckengas. I didn't want to butcher it, so that's why I didn't say it there. So, guys, Katie is one of our January Wildcats of the Month. Her activities include six-man mentoring, which she's done for 2 years. She has been a National Honor Society member, where she's also been the president, and the National Technical Honor Society, where she's also been the secretary, because you're in the animal science program, correct? Her sports, she has been a 4-year varsity bowler, very, very good, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later here for us. Fine arts, she is in marching band and concert band, which she's been a part of for 4 years, and jazz band, which she's been a part of for 2 years. Katie's parents are Anthony Telleroli and Stephanie Telleroli. And got their congratulations for her as well. After graduation, she plans to attend the Ohio State University. I wish we were going to watch them tonight. And major in veterinary medicine. And then for the questions that she wants to answer, what is the most important part of school? And she said the most important part of school is learning academics, being a leader, and committing yourself to be the best version of yourself, regardless of what you do. What is the most embarrassing thing that ever happened in school? I'm shocked you chose to answer this one. They have a variety of options, just so you know, so she picked this one to answer. So she said during bowling sectionals her freshman year, she was very nervous, and the ball return did not have an air bed. And if you don't know what that's for, it's to cool down your hands to prevent sweating. Because of the no air, her thumb swelled up, and she threw the bowling ball into the other lane. This didn't happen just once. As a matter of fact, it happened twice. And the second time, Mr. Stempel thought her thumb went with the bowling ball. Needless to say, it was her most embarrassing, but she did finish that game with a 135, which is way better than my general 80 that I'm really excited about. So that's awesome. What is the coolest thing that's happened at school? And she said during her junior year at bowling sectionals, she was the only girl qualifier to attend districts. While she bowled a 158, a 168, and a 169 for a total of a 493 game series. And her highest ever is a 602 that she's bowled this year. So really, really excited to see what happens for you. Katie, thank you so much, and congratulations on being on. Isabella Roach, come on up. I made Katie go first so you could see it wasn't that bad. Here you go. This to you. Yep. So our next Wildcat of the Month is Isabella Roach. She has been in yearbook. She has been a 1-year member of volleyball, a 1-year member of the drama crew, a 1-year member of the culture club, and 3 years working. She has sports. She was a member of volleyball her freshman year. For fine arts, she has taken foundations of art. She's been in symphonic choir her sophomore and junior year, and she is in the senior art program this year as a senior. Community involvement, she has been a Safety World volunteer and a Humane Society volunteer. Her parents are here, Amanda Wynn and Dean Roach, with her out here. After graduation, she plans on going to a 4-year university to major in marketing. You're gonna have to help me with this one too. I was already thinking that when you came in. If you could sit on the park bench for an hour with anyone, who would it be? And I'm gonna let you say the name.
I have to read it.
Okay, me too.
I'm pretty sure it's Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a Buddhist.
Yes, okay, I had that part. A Buddhist who's known as the father of mindfulness. I'm glad you didn't know the name either. I could have just made it up and everybody would have went along with us here. But he's a Buddhist known for being the father of mindfulness, and that's who she'd like to spend an hour on a park bench with if given the opportunity. What's the best thing about being a teen? Isabella said growth and learning more about who you are. And what's the most important part of school? And she said it's the social aspect of school is very important to me. School's an environment where young people are able to learn and thrive through education and also their surroundings. Congratulations again to Isabella. At this time, guys, I'd actually like to turn it over to our head football coach and athletic director, Mr. Matt Dennison. As you know, when we have had teams and individuals do some pretty awesome things, we want to start bringing them to the board meeting to be recognized, just like we did with our tennis, our girls tennis and our girls golf, Logan Howard. So I'm going to hand over to Coach Dennison at this point.
All right. All football players that are able to make it, I'd like to bring them up and have them stand in front here. So come on up. We had an exceptional football season this last year in 2022, and we were able to make a deep run and play into November, so this was really our first chance to get to a board meeting and recognize these young men. These young men are part of the team that had a great season this past year. A couple of the accomplishments that we want to recognize tonight as a team. As a team, we won our first league championship since 1963, so that's the first league championship in 59 years in football, so that was something that we were very proud of. This team was the third 9-win team in school history, which was the most wins in a season. This team made the deepest playoff run ever at 3 games. It's the third team ever to make the Sweet 16, so we're the top 16 teams in the state. This team also averaged a school best 40 points a game. That broke the record from the 1944 team that averaged 39 points a game. Scored an astonishing 524 points. Most ever in school history, we had the most yards ever in school history. We had 6,146 yards we gained offensively. That broke the old record by 1,879 yards. So to put it in, some teams don't even have 1,879 yards in a season. So that was a pretty great record for us. We would have been ranked in the top 20 in the NCAA Division I in total yardage offensively, and they play 12 more minutes a game than we do. So that was something impressive for our kids. One thing that I found when I was doing my research, our team averaged 9.5 yards a play on offense. That would have led the NCAA this year, and it would have beaten the NCAA leader Tennessee by 2 yards a play. So that was a pretty good accomplishment for us. A couple of individual accomplishments that made state recognition. Our kicker, Landon White, converted on 56 consecutive extra points and 65 on the year. Both of those make the state record books, so he will be on the OHSA website for the most on the most PATs made and 56 consecutive. And quarterback Lucci Snyder had the most prolific passing year in school history with over 3,500 yards passing, which broke some records, and that also will go into the state record books also. So wanted to recognize our players that came. We have a patch that can go on their Letterman's jacket that they can come up and you guys, I announce your name, come around, get your patch from Mr. Yeager. So first, guys that are here, first sophomore, a wide receiver, defensive back, Josh Fitzgibbon. Junior wide receiver, defensive back, Alan Hubbard-Ray. Sophomore linebacker, Landon Karavic. sophomore defensive back wide receiver Lance Long. Sophomore wide receiver defensive back Grady Cordes. Junior linebacker running back Jaden Palusas. Senior defensive lineman and running back Aaron Sims. Junior linebacker and H-back Joe Meyer. Junior offensive and defensive lineman Tyler Howard. Senior and four-year letterman offensive and defensive lineman Grant Treacher. Junior offensive defensive lineman Max Cochran. Sophomore tight end defensive end Luke Johnson. Sophomore tight end defensive lineman Jordan Shockley. And the last four guys, we were very grateful, and we were very lucky to have four athletes that were named All-Ohio for us this past year. First, we'll start with defensive and offensive lineman, honorable mention All-Ohio, Aiden Gear. Next, linebacker and running back, third team All-Ohio, Ethan Pricky. And then we had two first-team All-Ohioans, which is, that doesn't happen very often. First-team All-Ohio wide receiver, Tavon Castle. And first-team All-Ohio quarterback, Poochie Snyder. And the nice thing about all four of those All-Ohio athletes, they're all juniors, so they'll be back next year, so we're kind of excited about that. Also like to thank Coach Caravan came tonight. Again, it was a great season. I don't want to take up too much time because if you're a football fan, there's a pretty important football game tonight. But we'd like to thank everybody for coming and supporting these guys all year long, and thank our seniors that are here and thank our seniors, and look forward to greater things as we go forward. Thank you.
Hey, for everyone that's here joining us, you are welcome to stay. Please know you are welcome. But if at this point in time you would like to go home, you are also welcome to do that. I don't think you're going to hurt anybody's feelings. So completely up to you. Thank you for being here and congratulations to everyone. What's that? Yeah, she could have objected. She didn't object, so we're going to do that. They're going to bed after this.
All right, thank you. Moving on, we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Okay, we've got three things for approval tonight. Exhibit TA1, item A, is the monthly financial reports. The cash reconciliation for the calendar year end December 31st, 2022, deposit accounts total $1,853,495.54, and total investments were $12,656,767.02. Total reconciled balance after our outstanding items $14,354,947.95. Page 2 is a listing of our investments. We're starting to see a few larger interest rate investments at the tail end of our investment ladder. Those are going to continue to increase. Our interest income as well, we'll be able to see on the next page how we're doing this year. We're doubling up our interest. So the interest rate environment is a good time to be an investor, not so good of a time to be a borrower. So that's good for us. So listing of investments on page 2. Page 3 is a look to the end of December for the general fund this year compared to last year, and then actual versus estimates. We're starting to see some of the inflationary increases starting to impact our expenses a little bit. Our purchase services and materials are both over where we were last year. Just slightly over our estimates, though. I had built in some increases because of the environment we were in even at the end of last summer. No reason to raise the white flag at this time, but the general fund ended December 31st with a $12,242,164 balance, and at the bottom you can see the balances of the remaining funds there. I'd like to recommend the financial report for approval. Item B is the alternative tax budget. Each January we're required before January 15th to set the tax budget for the succeeding fiscal year. This is a formality. We don't actually have to have a budget hearing. They waive the budget hearing for us. All school districts in Stark County have their budget hearing waived. We just have to submit this document in lieu of that budget hearing. So page 1 is just a summary of the requirements. Page 2 is a listing of all of our taxes that are levied. So if you look there, all the inside millage is listed first. That's 5.2 mils, and then all of our continuing levies through the bottom there in the general fund through 94 listed. And then we do have that one levy that's operating in PI that's required to be renewed every 5 years, listed there as well, and our bond retirement fund that will be collected through 2044. So listing of those levies, and then pages 3, 4, and 5 for any fund that we collect taxes, that the county auditor collects taxes on for us, or we have tax levies for, we're required to list estimated tax collections and rollbacks separately, and then show what our expenditures are expected to be, so that way we show a need to have those taxes levied. And then succeeding 4 or 5 pages are funds that don't collect taxes, and all we have to report for those are what our estimated receipts and expenditures are. We update those once we get closer to the fiscal year. This is just an estimate for that they use as original amended certificate for us, and they set our appropriations based on this. The only other thing on there to talk about then, the last couple of pages, we list our unvoted general obligation debt. We still have an OWDA loan that was paid off this past year, and then we have the certificate of participations lease. That's the state share of the new middle school project that we still have outstanding until we get the state share in. And then the last page shows all of our debt outside the 10 mil limitation. That's the bond issue there. I recommend the tax budget for approval as presented. And then the last item, item C, we have 2 appropriation modifications. The first one is Title I, $341,000 increase. That's to appropriate the carryover that we carried over from last year in Title I and in Title I-D. And in the 599 Emergency Broadband Grant, this is a new grant that we received last year. The auditors have indicated we have to report that on our federal schedule. There was some question on the timing of it, so it rolled into this fiscal year for reporting purposes. So we have to appropriate this. I'll do an amended certificate to include the revenues just as a formality for the audit side, so we can include it on our federal schedule. So I recommend the appropriation modifications for approval.
All right, I so move on items A through C.
Second. Any questions? No? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Kubeski?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye. All right. That brings us to the superintendent's report.
So I'm gonna go ahead and let, so I can just roll it all into one. I'm gonna go ahead and let our students, Allison's and Dakota here, make their reports.
Our report is a little short tonight because of the winter break. All I have is that the high school choir has 30 students participating in the District 8 solo and ensemble contest, which is this Saturday, January 14th at McKinley High School.
All right, and I have a couple more things. report back about how the midterms went before winter break. I thought it was a lot better than previous years. I thought I was more prepared to take midterms, and it was a better ease into back to school after winter break. So I definitely enjoyed it and hope that other students did. And then also I have the BPA or Business Professionals of America report. Tomorrow actually we are sending our graphic design, programming, and business CTE students to Canton, I believe, for BPA contests where they perform. There's tests, there's presentations, different stuff like that, depending on the CTE class. And this is districts, so it determines if students can go to state or national levels. And our teachers, Mr. Laughlin, Mr. Bergert, and Mr. Fortune.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hey, and just to kind of echo what they said, it's crazy, but since our last school board meeting, today I think was the fifth day that we've actually been back in school due to the winter break. So there's not been a whole lot on that. Where I want to start off is January is School Board Appreciation Month. And I know, listen, I have a father that's a school board member, obviously in a different district. I've seen it from that perspective. Now getting to work very closely with all of you, I know this is a thankless job. I really do. I know this is not one you're not getting rich off of. You're doing because you genuinely care about Canton Local, its students, its staff, this community. And so really just on behalf of our administration, on behalf of our staff, our students, I just want to take an opportunity to say thank you. I know your support to me is a first year, you're not first year anymore, but a first time superintendent coming in and just being able to bounce ideas. And I mentioned it earlier when we were doing the committees. I talked to you guys quite a bit. And I really appreciate being able to get your advice, get your support as we make some of these really tough decisions. So on behalf of all of us, this is something that OSBA puts out. It's nothing special. It's just a piece of paper. However, more than that, it's just an opportunity for me on behalf of all of us to say thank you. So I'm going to walk and hand these out real quick and get those. But just a thank you for what you do here. And, it's one of those, like on Valentine's Day or Sweetest Day, I'm not just saying it because my wife here, you should tell everybody thank you more often. So more than just on January, we appreciate you, but this is just a chance to show it. So you can, yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
As far as moving down now, other reports. Athletic Council, we are well into our winter sports seasons here, and it's amazing how quick things are going. Our boys basketball team lost a tough one the other night against Triway, battled really, really hard against what I think is a pretty good team. We're right now 4-3 in league play, right above 500 overall. Girls basketball team had an outstanding win this past week against Akron Firestone to put them at 7-4 right now, halfway through the season. So again, doing very, very well with that. Our wrestling team, it's a little different this year. We don't wrestle like dual meets like you used to in the league. There's quite a bit of tournament play and all that. We hosted a dual meet here. Awesome, our team. We beat Hubbard by, I believe, about 12 points overall as a team. And we beat Glen Oak 63-12, I believe, was the final score on that one. So outstanding job. Again, it's a little different than in years past where I can say, hey, we just beat West Branch or we just beat Minerva, we're Wrestling Alliance. Our league doesn't do that this year, so we're in a lot of tournaments, but a lot of good things coming out of our kids, and I'm excited to see how they move going forward. Our bowling team here, and I gotta actually pull this up with everything here is, let me go back. Mr. Knoll, thanks for the text. Our boys varsity team right now is 7-4. Overall, just had a big win at Minerva. Our boys JV team right now is 5-1. Our girls right now, overall record-wise, and this is what's great about bowling is we have some new bowlers out this year. So when you're talking a team, we haven't had a whole lot of success, but Katie has had an outstanding year. We got a chance for some really good individual performances there. So a lot of good stuff going on right now within the world of athletics. As far as facilities, I think the biggest thing is just making sure you guys all know we are continuing to look to move forward with the restrooms here at the high school to make them, especially in the A wing, just like they are, as close to what we can get them over at the middle school. We've seen a great reduction in student issues over there. I think you guys would attest with everything. If, you know, start going here, Caden and Allison, I think you guys would attest that probably most of our issues here would be restroom related. And so if we can take steps to make that better for the entirety of this building and for the long run, that's what we're looking to do. But as we move forward with that, we'll continue to get you more reports, more updates on everything. And then curriculum, like I said, there hasn't been much change in the last 5 days of school, so we will keep you updated as we move forward. I know Tricia has a report coming for you in February.
Okay, thank you. All right, now to superintendent's report.
Yep. So first thing here as we move forward, resignations. We'd like to take Melissa Strange, cafeteria worker and bus driver, effective December 22nd. Very happy for Melissa. She was named as the Director of Food Services for Osnaburg Local Schools. So this was a great opportunity for her. Sad to see her go. She was an outstanding worker in our cafeteria and a bus driver for us, but very much appreciated, and we do recommend that we accept her resignation. When you move to employment, and this is where the addendum to the agenda comes in to make sure everybody's got this here. The first one there for employment is Carrie Hess-Lauber, that $300 stipend. Mrs. Conley is going to be out right now as Coach Conley and her just welcomed their second child. Our person that we employed last month, Ms. Davis, is in her first year. And when you're in your first year, you need a supervisor to go through, and that's going to be Carrie for us. So we're going to pay her a $300 stipend for work above and beyond, just to make sure things are being done right and looking over work and supervising. We'd like to add Emily Sadler as a substitute educational paraprofessional. And then again, this is where we crossed off Joe. Joe is also a bus driver, decided he wanted to stay there, and that's what the addendum was. The next person up on our seniority list was Shannon Stevens. And so we'd like to recommend her being a cafeteria worker at a 5-hour position. Just to clarify, if you wonder why Joe was only going to be a 4-hour and Shannon's going to be a 5, the position was a 5-hour position. When Joe was going to move up and take it, we can't do a bus driver because they're dual classification beyond 4 hours, because they do their 4-hour bus driver out 4 hours here. They were going to make it work, but now that Joe's not going to take that, we're going to replace it back to where it was at a 5-hour. So just in case there's any question on that, but I would recommend that we would employ all 3 of them. Emily would obviously be as needed here as a substitute. As far as the next one, item C, the school calendar, that is there. We've had it out. This is just, the only thing that's changed on this, guys, for you, just if you want to say anything's changed, is first day of school, the 22nd, that is for grades 1 through 9. On the 23rd, that will be grades 10 through 12 coming as well. The high school is going to keep that day. The middle school did not feel that it was necessary. As we've moved into the new building, they really are broken up into pods, and they really could have their own separate day in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade in a way that they couldn't do before. So we're going to bring everyone in and get them started. And we're going to do kindergarten just like we did last year. And it's noted at the bottom where those first few days of school, they're going to be brought in and tested, and the teachers are working with individual groups of kids the whole day. So kids will be coming in, that'll be a schedule, and then we'll get them started, I believe, on the next day, the 28th there with everything. They'll come in for the first, everything ready to go. Other than that, very, very similar schedule to this year. And again, I recommend that we approve that. Item D, gifts and donations. You guys can see them there. Tammy Wilkes at $20 to the lunch account. Norm Eckinger, $250 to the lunch account, as well as $250 to the backpack program. Then we had an anonymous donor of $200 to 6-Man mentoring, and obviously I'd recommend we accept that. Sunday participation. Again, we have Aladdin Jr., our middle school, always does a fantastic job. I was really, really impressed with Moana last year. Really, really excited to see those kids back in action. And we'd like to give them as many opportunities, so we're recommending they could have that Sunday participation for that. And then the last one for me is item F, legal services. We are involved in a class action tort lawsuit with 1,300 other school districts across the country. Basically, every school in Stark County, at least everyone I can think of, is involved in this as well. And it is against the electronic cigarette manufacturers for damages for the harm that they've caused to students, for the extra work and resources that have been put into schools to deal with this. Mary Jo Slick is the legal rep for the entire county, and she is working with an outside group, Peter Scalio and Markakis, and this is just authorizing her on our behalf if she talks about what we're doing with them. We don't believe that there'll be any additional cost with this, and if there is, you'll be made aware. But we just need to do this. This is something that's being asked of every school in the county to just make sure we're covered. And then Mary Jo will actually come in probably at our February board meeting. I'm gonna have to reach out to her, make sure she knows it's a changed date, and meet with us in executive session to discuss this pending litigation. So just so you guys are all aware of that. But I would recommend that we would approve that as well. And then that's all for me.
All right, I'll make a motion, we accept A through F.
Second.
Any questions? Not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Schatzel, you want to talk about the informational items there?
Yeah, we're required each year to report on any rewards that we earn. We do use Huntington Bank, which is who we have our regular accounts through for a commercial card. We don't get charged any interest on that. We use it like a credit card. Each department, each building has one. You still have to have purchase orders in place for your purchases, and then we pay the bill the following month. And we do get rebates on that. The total rebates for calendar year 2022 were $1,899. And then the American Express card, we don't use that as much anymore now that we have the Huntington card, since we get rebates. That's more attractive than the American Express Rewards program. We used to get statement credits on that for our rewards points. They don't offer that anymore. So we're down to 112,820 points on the American Express card. So.
Thank you. All right, board concerns, the legislative. Only one thing legislative, again, the legislature just went back into session, the new legislature, and they had a controversial election of leadership as in the federal government, so I guess it's catching, or the thing to do. So they will, I'm sure, start work on a lot of points, and I'll bring them to you as needed in the months to come. All right. Now, we'd like to go into an executive session for discussing employment of the superintendent. And with action.
I make that motion.
Okay, and action can be taken in return. All right, we have a second?
Second.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
All right.
Now we're back in regular session.
Okay, we are back in regular session. All right. I would like to make a motion to approve an addendum to the superintendent's current contract to include 5,000 contract completion stipend effective for 2022, 2023, 2023, and 2024 contract years.
I'll second.
Any questions? If not, call the roll.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
I would like to make a motion to approve a 5-year contract with Mr. Brett Yeagley, effective August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2029. The base salary for the first year of the contract would be $135,000 with a 2.5% base increase for each year of the contract thereafter.
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yep, thanks. Listen, thank you guys very much. Really, really appreciate your support, and it means a lot. So just thank you very much. Excited to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks out to Mrs. Yeagley and Callie. Yep.
Okay. Other business.
I have two things. First, and I know Mr. Knoll left, but I wanted to kind of give a attaboy to him during that bomb cyclone that we had over Christmas. There were quite a few school districts that had some serious HVAC issues with their univent systems, and Mr. Knoll had the wherewithal to keep ours cranked 24/7, so we avoided some of that. But I know there was some pretty serious damage at a few districts because of them scaling their heat back without students being there. So,
I was just in a meeting today with other superintendents, and I was talking to Alliances, and he showed me what happened to the castle, some of the pictures.
Oh,
and I mean,
that's terrible.
so I appreciate you saying
and
that.
West
Chris.
Branch was another one,
Were
that
they?
had a pretty significant problem, so.
I appreciate you saying that, because that was Chris, absolutely.
And second was, kind of curious as to where we are with the hiring of a volleyball coach.
Yeah, so as it stands right now, we have one applicant that has applied. We've also had one inquiry about it as well, not an official application. I did just speak to Mr. Dennison, and he said he's reached out to a couple people, but nothing materializing yet with everything, but one applicant at this time.
And what is the experience level of that one applicant?
To the best of my knowledge, there's no varsity experience with them. I wouldn't want to comment if there's ever been, but I don't believe there's been any varsity experience with that applicant.
Gotcha. I think it's really a shame that, this district has been put in this position due to the reckless action of a board member. Nobody wants to come here because of that. It's a shame.
I'm sure we'll try our best. Take care of our kids.
That's what it takes.
Reckless
20,
action.
25 kids, 25 or 30 kids that are affected by it for years to come.
We had an assistant coach corroborate the accusation.
For years to come. Point of order.
Reckless action. Jeez.
All right. Any further executive session?
We didn't do questions. But
Oh, questions pertaining to the agenda items of board action? Okay, thank you. No more executive session. All right, someone want to make a motion for adjournment?
Make motion to adjourn. Second.
All right, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kavetsky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
All right, thank you.